Good morning, everyone. Hopefully, you're watching this in the morning. If not, then I guess it's morning somewhere. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about how waking up in the morning changed my life. Well, early in the morning. I wasn't always a morning person. In high school and college, I'd stay up pretty late at night and then sleep in as much as I could. Especially when I was taking afternoon classes, I'd typically wake up around 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. It wasn't until I was 19 that I started waking up extremely early in the morning, and around this time was when I was working as a barista at Starbucks. It was a Starbucks kiosk at a grocery store, those kind of like really small coffee bars that are branded that you can find in most grocery stores. Yeah, one of those. And I was recently promoted to being the kiosk manager because the previous one wanted to work at a different department. They were just tired of that job, and I don't blame them. So I took up the challenge. I was in charge of assigning shifts, ordering ingredients, and training employees. There was much more, but this was kind of like the basic stuff. This was my very first management position, and it was pretty demanding. Demanded a lot of my time, so I would show up extremely early to work. This was the first time in my adulthood where I had that oh crap moment where I realized I can't really stay out late hanging out with friends or playing video games because now I had a huge responsibility on my shoulders. I had to come in and open and take care of all the managerial stuff. The times I did try staying up late and then going to work were abysmal, but the thing is, I did this almost every time because I feel like in early adulthood, you have this false sense of invincibility. I'd tell myself, oh, I could stay up and I'll go to work early in the morning, or I'll just sleep it off in the afternoon, and I would do it over and over again. Little did I know that was gonna run out and quick. About a month into my new position and repeating my old terrible habits, it started to show in my work performance. Due to lack of sleep, I would forget a lot of things. My mind was always really hazy, and I was always tired. It wasn't the optimal state for being in a management position. My metrics were pretty much in the gutters as soon as I started. This led to a tough conversation with my manager. She pulled me into our office and she was asking why I was performing so terribly. I had most of the same responsibilities as before, but never had an issue with the quality or performance that I now had. This was because I was used to the closing shifts. She asked if there was something wrong in my personal life or if I had health issues that were affecting me. She was genuinely concerned for my health at first, but that wasn't my issue. I was just making bad decisions. My excuse was, oh, I'm not a morning person. And this was before I had the maturity to own up to my mistakes, so I just tried to shift blame. My manager called me out on this, and she let me know that wasn't an excuse. She straight up told me, well, either become a morning person or you can forget about being a manager. So, in a way, I was kind of coerced into this. She followed up by saying, we decided to make you a manager because you showed us that you have a lot of potential. Please don't prove us wrong. And that was the first time at any job that someone told me they saw potential in me. I also saw that potential, and it was blocked off by my bad decisions and sleeping habits. I really took these words to heart. I also learned that sometimes it's the tough conversations that help you grow and change the most. If I never had that conversation, I'm sure I would have continued down the same path and then just gotten demoted or fired. But I didn't want to lose my pay raise. It was pretty good. I went from making $10 an hour to $17 an hour. That was really sweet for a 19-year-old in 2016. So yes, my pay was a big motivator for me to clean up my act. So I started sleeping at 7 or 6 p.m. every night and then waking up at 3 a.m. to beat traffic and get a head start at my job. Luckily, I had the privilege of being able to clock in as early as I wanted and getting a head start at all of my tasks before I opened up the coffee bar. So by the time I did, I was ready. After about a couple of weeks, I improved my metrics and I started performing pretty much better at everything in general. I was on the ball with all of my responsibilities. Getting my sleep in and waking up early made me feel like I was in my flow state as soon as I started work. One of my biggest accomplishments was that I got real good at counting up my inventory. This had to be done once a month and it took all day. It'd usually be done after about 10 to 12 hours. But I got to the point where I was able to complete the count within 3 hours. I came up with my own system. It was just super efficient. I could go on and on for days about how I did that, but I'll save that for some other time. But it did used to take me forever to break down my shipments and then organize our product. And After I became a morning person, I was able to bang these shipments out within the first hour or so after they'd arrive. I was pretty unstoppable. My employers definitely took advantage of me because they would even send me to other stores to count their inventory and break their loads. But I did it with much gusto. It wasn't long before I was recognized as that kid that's killing it at the coffee bar. I was making it happen. I remember my manager called me into her office once again, and I was sure I was probably going to get fired this time. But she actually wanted to congratulate me for increasing the revenue in my coffee bar by almost 60% during a month that was historically slow. This made me really happy being recognized for this. I went from being your average teenager with a terrible work ethic to having a place at the break room with all of the seasoned workers with the other departments at the grocery store. They were well into their 30s, 40s, 50s, and even much older, and I learned a lot from these folks. Definitely a topic for another entry for sure. But they were the morning crew, and now I was part of them. And it was like a club. They looked after me, and I made sure they got their drinks as soon as they came in the morning. There was this sense of prestige that brought me a lot of pride, but in a very healthy way. Seeing that people liked seeing me do a good job gave me a huge boost in my confidence, and it motivated me to pretty much do everything the best I could. And the rest is history. This is something I definitely took and ran with. Nowadays, I can't think of a good day where I wake up after 7 a.m., and that's pretty late for me. Some of the things that really helped me get into my zone in the mornings is just putting on some good music. For me, anything high energy or emotional really hits the spot. And then practicing gratitude at the beginning of my day really helps a lot. This sets the stage for how the rest of my day is going to go. Lastly, but almost more importantly, nothing hits like just getting a really good caffeination right before your morning tasks. You get your favorite tea, coffee, energy drink, and just start with a bang. That's what I do. In the morning, you get your first pick at whatever the hell you want. Everything is also empty. The roads, grocery stores, even most gyms. It really feels like the world is your playground when everyone else is sleeping. And by the time they wake up, they have to catch up with you because you've already been at it. This is why winners wake up early and losers wake up in the afternoon and wish they had the opportunities that the winners took in the early morning. There's something about the dim morning light and the morning cold that inspires me to be my best self. Every quiet morning, I'll pound down an energy drink, now an Americano, and I get straight to work. I feel like I'm still part of that morning crew in the grocery store that I used to work in. In fact, it feels like I always will be. I have transcended the morning crew into every morning. I can feel the spirit of getting things done, empowering me to give it my all every morning. And where do I find the motivation? Well, I guess for me it's remembering the good times and the many good times ahead that I'll have as part of the universal morning crew. Cozy when it's cold, loud when it's quiet, bright when it's dark, bringing joy where there is none. There's nothing I can think of that sounds just as fun. If you're watching this and you work early in the morning, I saved a spot at the break room table just for you, so welcome to the crew.